Team E. With its 2 missile CLs and 1 BB. Or will it be this time back again with 2 big battleships on this lovely, gorgeous map? I guess the way to victory here for the cruisers is hit the small ships of the enemy and then just play Ring Around the Rosie, running around the map, as there's enough capture points that if you have more ships than the enemy, you can just try to avoid them. But the question is, will that be possible? As we are on the lovely map of Nebulous here. Will that work out, chat? What do you think? What are the success chances here? Or the short torpedo missiles, CVs. No, CLs. CVs we don't have just yet. That's a feature that is still to come. I really wonder how that will work out when we get carriers into the game. Carriers and raiding parties are supposed to come eventually as well into the game. Yeah, here we go. Light cruisers are on the battlefield. On the other side, we have 2 big boy battleships in space. Both coming around the left side. There are capture points on top, on the bottom, and on each of the sides, and 1 in front. So 6 capture points on this map. Yeah, I feel like the way for Red to win this is trying to always have 1 more than the enemy team of these captured points. And yeah, this map is really, really gorgeous. That's why I wanted it in. As we have at the E point. That's not quite what I wanted. Where are we? Oh, we are inside the Nebulous right now. We also have these guns that are part of the map. Their projectiles don't deal damage, but they're firing out of the ship at each of these points. It's pretty cool as well. And we for sure need more maps like this. Like more, I would like to have more spaceship, more space station maps, and so on in the game. Not just grayish asteroid fields. Eventually. Yeah, it's. I think it's one of the space stations in from the Expanse. But with Inside the Gate, I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's the ring station from the Expanse. Exactly. So we have the Tempest Eagle going up. Both battleships staying together. So as long as the Apotheosis doesn't run headlong into them, there is a good chance that Red team might have a success with just capturing the points. Like, if you play objective here, I feel like Blue team has to split up their battleships eventually, and then you might be able to overwhelm them with your own battleship, combining with one of the light cruisers or so. There are still opportunities here for victory. Yes, open the space around the space station is. You still can block the line of sight relatively easily as long as you hug to the surface of the station. So this is still winnable for Red. I agree with it being a tough map to play maybe, but I don't think the chances are completely grim. Let's see how it works out here as the Ascension is coming along, hugging the surface over here. That's the Apotheosis riding really close to the surface on the other side, edging forwards towards sea, always in fear of these bad boys. Dawnbringer and Slide of Linnell Then I'm moving along. But the Tempest Eagle might have a bad time here already, as it is under fire by the Warspite. At the beginning, Blue has more ships, but when it comes to combat-ready ships, it's actually 2 versus 3. The 3 light cruisers here with the battleship versus only 2 battleships here. So securing points might be easier for Red after all. Blue is getting the F point though, as the stack has arrived here at the F point below the space station. So Blue will start with a slight advantage here in ticks, as the ships of the red team try to move towards C, getting fire into the Tempest Eagle. Tempest Eagle taking good amount of damage. 6 of the guns currently firing on top of it. None of them really hitting their mark here though. It seems like the lock has been lost. Yeah, the lock has been lost. And it's also not spotted anymore. At the same time here, the Apotheosis needs to get the hell out of here. Well, it's inching forward. Is it? I'm not 100% sure how well modeled these guns are. Can it hide behind the gun? I don't know. That works out. It actually tries to press on towards C point. I don't know if that's the right decision here to make. I would expect the right decision to make is running. But it's trying to do its job here. Trying to hide behind this big gun. I hope that gun is actual cover. And it's actually physically modeled into the game. We will figure out in a second, I guess. As, yeah, it seems to be. As it's not spotted anymore, and it's capturing the C point. Okay, that is great usage of the little amount of cover that you get sticking out of this battle station. And C point is getting captured. Meanwhile, obviously seeing both of the battleships over here means that Red Team now knows that they can go for the other points relatively easily, as everyone got the to see the fleets of the other teams before the start of the tournament. So Ascension, for example, knows that it now can easily go for the D point, and the formation up here on top can rush for B point or for D point here as well. But that the Tempest Eagle did survive is a bit annoying here for the Reds. And it's the Thimble that is actually getting tracked here. Also not quite sure what the Connolly is doing over here. Guess it's trying to keep an eye onto the 2 battleships for the long run. The 2 battleships now are splitting up to try to get a line of sight onto the light cruiser here. They have to keep their distance. They get too close, this might end terribly for these battleships. They're moving up. And we now have a ship arriving at the E point up here. Tempest Eagle still under fire. Getting damaged slightly over there. Well, it's D point now. Should get captured by the Ascension as well. Do this small ships on the other side have any offensive missiles? Yes, they have 6 offensive missiles each. Oh no, only the one. Only the stack over here has 6 of them. So let's see what it can do. Can 6 stage 2 tier 2 missiles be good enough to take out the Ascension? Obviously a small ship taking out a light cruiser would be complete disaster here for the red team, as it is going for its 4th point though. And 4 versus 2 obviously would put a lot of pressure onto Team Blue. The Eagle is still alive. Damaged, but still functional. Still functional here for sure. Okay, we got a jammer here up. on the Dawnbringer. It is still somewhat closing in. Guns opening up onto the enemy battleship here. The Warspite under fire. And a Tempest missile going for the Connolly. Connolly got spotted. Let's see if its defensive missiles can do the job here. That will be interesting, as the Tempests are closing in, and it doesn't seem to be able to dodge them. Oh, one of the missiles overshoots. That might be its saving grace. Second missile though coming in. Oh, misses as well. Connolly seems to be too agile for these missiles. The Tempest missiles most likely made for bigger ships, faster but less agile with the missile designer. So actually missed their target, and that is really important. Every ship that you lose here on the map with 6 points is really bad. But the Ascension tries to close in to the little corvette over here. The Iron Ruination is not moving away, and it's now getting targeted by 2 maces. I don't know why it didn't try to dodge earlier, as the 2 maces are now coming forward, and one of these maces hitting this ship should be the end of it. Yes, instantly blackout. Second mace even already the overkill. At the same time though, from the down below we have some more Tempest missiles coming towards the Ascension. But 4 points versus 2 points now captured. So the slow advantage that the red team is getting here now is quite big. And Tempest gets through though. Oh, the defensive missiles here of the Ascension not good enough to stop the stage 2 missiles, and obviously the blue team will have noticed this as well. Good damage with the first missile already, and 2 more coming in, and that might be the end of the Ascension. If that kill happens here, that would be really bad. Okay, this time the defensive missiles do their job. Can the Aegis take all the missiles out this time around? Okay, no, it just was a misfire with the first one. Now they seem to be functioning correctly, as they're now taking out all the aggressive missiles here. Okay, that would have been really bad, as now the Ascension is able to get the shots off. Doesn't have another missile here, it seems, though, and that means another Tempest B does get the hit in. Takes out a couple of important tools here, and actually that little ship even has a gun. Doesn't have missiles anymore, but it has a gun, whilst its opponent doesn't have a gun. It's just a really small gun. This seems to be a corvette hunter. Not really made for dealing with light cruisers, but its gun over time could do some damage. The big thing is though, on the other ship we have the mace missiles, which will take out that stack ship with 1 shot. So that stack needs to run away now. Desperately trying to increase distance here now, as it's for sure on the lower end of the food chain here in this duel. E-Point meanwhile also gets recaptured by the blue team, with the Tempest Eagle coming down from above as the Thimble is moving for Point Alpha. Battleships here in a big gunfight as well. It's only 1v1. So that is quite risky for both sides, as the second battleship currently not in a position to get its shots onto the D point, where this light cruiser is still trying to reposition time and again to dodge the gunshots from the enemy battleships. And I would expect it at some point to try to dash forward to strike a deadly blow here, as both sides now have 3 points again. It's 5 ships versus 4 ships, as the Connolly got taken out eventually still. And the Thimble has to be careful here as well. It has line of sight on one of the battleships, which means one of the battleships would have line of sight onto it as well. But it is going for Point Alpha. And E-Point is getting captured as well, as the Warspite is moving back in there. And the Tempest Eagle won't be able to defend that for too long. So as we have that going on, the slide of Lionel is getting onto target. Now it seems to be the focus of Team Red to try to take out all but the battleships. As if they achieve that, obviously, that would be really, really helpful. If they can kill off all the enemy frigates, they are just so much more maneuverable. And without spotter ships, the battleships are way less capable. But currently not doing the damage they want to deal here. At least can dodge away from the enemy battleship here. Tempest Eagle, now really, really close to this battleship. Basically point blank range. Like, this is kind of Age of Sail style of salvo here. But it's a really, really one-sided one. Tempest Eagle not able to defend itself at all. And it should be taken out in a second or so. And then we are 4 ships versus 4. Even that missile was a bit unnecessary here. As the Vipers... Well, I guess they allow the battleship to take focus onto the enemy battleship once more. Which still is relatively undamaged, whilst over here, well, it's still not much damage on either side, turns out. Point E is left to the blue team, though, as Warspite has passed point B now. Alpha gets defended by the Stag, as the Stag successfully ran away from the enemy light cruiser, which now is moving into point F, and the Thimble has to run for its life, as the Stag, we remember, has a gun. So it actually can do some damage here to the Thimble, and that would be really critical, as that would leave the enemy team only with the light cruisers and the battleship. So really strong fight here from both sides. A lot of back and forth. Running away from the enemy light cruiser was the absolutely right move here for the Stag. And yeah, finding a Thimble here is a great catch. The battleship still trying to maneuver around. Moves us back now into point E. Doesn't need to fire any more missiles onto the Tempest Eagle. That one has been taken out. As both sides here now start to take some damage. Couple of things already taken out. A couple of mounted gyros. Reducing the speed at which the HMS Warspite turns its guns. Slide of Linil. Also taking out gun plotting on the other side, though. Which means that both sides already using their guns a bit less effective than before. More gun plotting centers under fire. But if the second battleship obviously can enter this fight, then this whole engagement might look quite different. And there's still 2 little corvettes to capture points around. The blue team currently is also the more maneuverable one. The Thimble at least made it out alive. E-point also now once more getting captured. But both battleships now trying to get their lines of sight onto the Warspite. And they might be able to do so right now. And the Dawnbringer is still basically completely intact. So this is really not the fight the Warspite wants to have here. Guns of the Dawnbringer completely off target with the first salvo here. But the Warspite basically wants to capture the E-point and then dash for cover. Even the capturing part here might be too late now, as it is maneuvering around. It'll only take a second or so, but then it needs to run here. Needs to try to get down the hill, down the space station. Break line of sight with the enemies. Because without one of the light cruisers getting some torpedoes into the enemy, the blue team doesn't really stand a chance. The red team doesn't really stand a chance against the 2 blue battleships. But they are now once more, they're ahead in points, and they most likely will get ahead in capture points in a second as well, as the F point is getting captured. So all the battleship up here has to do is fighting a delaying action. And the Warspite is on the way to maneuver out of the zone. Broke line of sight with the slide of Lionel thanks to the turret over here. And now has to get away from the Dawnbringer as well. Dawnbringer, way better state of health than its opponent here in the Warspite. Warspite most likely a bit better ship in general than its opponents, as it only had to share the 3,000 points with one corvette, while it's on the other side it's 2 corvettes each. Even a bit more investment into the corvettes in general. So Warspite most likely 200, 300 points worth more than each of its opponents, but that's obviously nowhere near good enough to allow a fight versus 2 battleships. Battleship doctrine is always numbers win. Even Yamato didn't really want to fight a 1 versus 2. It was able to do so, but against some of the older American battleships in World War II. But for example, against 2 Iowas, Yamato would have looked pretty grim as well. And it seems like the engine, yeah, the drives have been shut out here below in the rear of the Warspite, and the Warspite is not moving anymore. And that is a pretty grim affair now, as that allows the 2 enemy battleships afterwards to roam freely and zone out the enemy light cruisers heavily. So the light cruisers need some successes now. The hypothesis, for example, a kill onto the enemy corvette over here, onto the Freddy P. Landsman, would be a big, big victory. Freddy P doesn't have any of its missiles left anymore, so it can't do any damage to the hypothesis. But if the hypothesis can get the kill here, that would be a major victory. And maybe some smaller missiles, some long-range missiles on board of these light cruisers would have been better than only maces, as now all these corvettes have to do is stay away, stay out of sight, stay out of range, and just run away, as they seem to be faster, a lot faster than these light cruisers as well. So the light cruisers have a bit of an issue now, as the Warspite has fallen. Both battleships on the other side still healthy. And even the Thimble now under fire. And with 3 versus 4 ships, red team already is at a disadvantage. With 2 versus 4 ships, I would say their position would be really grim. Currently the advantage of 110 points is not bad, but they most likely will need more than this, especially as both the D and the E points are getting captured. Whilst the hypothesis is moving on to try to capture 1 more point. The Ascension is coming down from down below to try to capture the A point. But it's looking pretty grim here. Also, hey Reef, how are you doing? I'm not sure why we don't have any sound, by the way. Just realized. We should have sound, but we don't, right? Okay, that sounded really weird. Okay, we have sound again. That sounded like a really weird alien voice.
The enemy is securing zone Comet.
I don't know when the sound bugged out. B point on the thread. And yeah, blue close to getting 5 points. Yes, red is on the way to 2 enemy points as well. But with the faster ships and the heavier ships both on the side of blue, I feel like red's position here now has become untenable. I don't quite know what their idea to victory is now. Like a kind of a mad dash for the battleship might be the only way here. Cold Drag in the mix, thanks for the follow. It's 4v4 max, Nax Rouse. Or no, even 5v5 max. It's 5v5 max. But the tournaments are in 2v2. Yeah.
zone comet.
As
The enemy is securing zone box.
organizing bigger teams is always a hassle. Like, for example, we today already had a team drop out because one of the people didn't show up. And you would have... the bigger teams, the more people you have to organize at the same time. And the riskier it is with dropouts, crippling teams, and so on. The most common are 3v3 and 4v4 team game matches. But 2v2 and 1v1s are played quite commonly as well. There's, for example, a competitive Discord where a lot of these people playing in this tournament today are from. You know, where they have a 1v1 ladder and elo system in place as well. Advanced. Yeah, Red is equalizing now in points once more, but they need a kill. And yeah, not having any long-range missiles on these destroyers, on these light cruisers is also a bit odd to me. Like, I feel like only having maces, only trying to destroy heavy and cruisers and so on, might be a mistake. Because
20 minutes remain.
on the competitive Discord here. As we have the Dawnbringer and the Slide of Lionel still looking pretty strong here. The red team still has a slight advantage in point, but ever so slightly only. And yeah, their little corvette over here, the Thimble, has fallen now as well. With that, it's 2 versus 4 ships. And that is just really, really rough. No, the community is one of the nicest I have been around. Like, there is little trolling in lobbies. No, yeah, people are generally friendly and chilled. It's a lot of... yeah, it's really one of the nicest communities. Like, good level above Wano community even. Like, the in-game Wano community. The Discord Wano community is great as well. On Warriors and on SDL. Not so much on the Huge Discord, but... yeah. It's really a nice place to be around. Force Spike going down. I mean, balanced discussions are always... yeah. Heated. People have... opinionated people are always... tough to talk to. As blue team is getting the F point here. And... just on the way to A as well. If Ascension can get the stack... and or maybe the... yeah, if they would have killed one more of the corvettes, I would still see hope here. But with both of these corvettes still being able to roam around freely, I fear the chances are rather slim. Okay, hiding at the B point here is the hypothesis. If battleships could be jumped upon, but both battleships are staying close to each other, and they can stay close to each other because the corvettes are able to roam freely. This is not looking good. This is really not ideal. Wizard in a rough spot. Oh, and now the hypothesis got found. Is under fire. Is too far away to use its mace torpedoes. Not in range for these slow, hard-hitting missiles. And the Ascension might be able to jump upon the stack here, but the stack already moving out once more. Getting distance between itself and the Ascension in a second as well. Not running fully away. If the Ascension can get the stack. But no, not with the... like, obviously, Ascension and the Prophecies both need to survive. Prophecies now trying to hide here. Which should work out, as it is faster than the battleships. Needs to dive more, though. Needs to get into a position like here. To break line of sight fully. Ascension is trying to get some targets on the stack, but the stack is too quick. Stack is getting distance here once more. Ooh, it's actually not running anymore. Ascension, can you use your missiles here? What is the range here? That we can't see the range between ships. That would still be one nice improvement here. That if you are on a ship, you could have a measurement in the spectator mode to the other ship. Okay, the maces are going out in numbers now. And I don't think the point defense on the stack are good enough to kill them all. And one of these is good enough to kill that ship. So, yeah, this is a dead ship. But blue is now already at 5-1 zones. Even with the zone captured over here. That is still 2-1 with blue ahead. They need a 4-2 capture point ratio at this stage again, and they can't get that with only 2 ships versus still 3 ships on the other side.
The enemy is securing zone full.
So this is not gonna happen. 900 points versus 500. Yeah, that's the stack got completely massacred there. Like the missile salvo that was fired there would have been strong enough to take out a heavy cruiser, maybe even a battleship. So firing that missile salvo on a corvette was quite the overkill. But it did its job. So, yeah. It is a really good game, Nax Rose. I can recommend it 10 out of 10. If you are into space games and you're fine with the graphics not being super shiny. Like, the graphics are fine, as you can see. Like, the game can be gorgeous. But obviously, the textures are not insane level. Because that would just fry all our PCs. And it's a small developer team. And a lot of it is for this game is still in planning and to come. They're working hard on it, but the game is in a really nice playable state as is. Like, it's one of the good early access games in my eyes. Launched with enough content and good mod support especially as well. As the battleships are still hunting here, and yeah, it's GG. This is going to end here. And yeah, the battleship not running further was the big mistake in my eyes. As once the warspite fell, the other team was able to roam freely here. But well played by Blacklight and Ovnod. And also good positioning with the light cruisers. In the end, how heavily got the stack owned? The stack received 10,000 damage here. So that is quite rough. Thanks to Bowser for the raid. Hello everyone to the 4th Nebulous 2v2 tournament. As we are at the end of round 2 here. And that was a... that ship got owned by these missiles. And Blacklight